Wells, I mean, this film, Other Side of the Wind, is near the total opposite of Gene Dealman. It's a little over 2 hours, 2 hours and 2 minutes, and there's so many ways you can read. Uh, in my mind, it reminds me in a lot of ways of Andrei Rublev by Tarkovsky. In that, when I first watched that, I was like, "This is a very good film, but it has some flaws." This film has some flaws too, but the flaws even work in favor of the film. Is it? Is it? I mean, The Other Side of the Wind is the film that the character played by John Huston is he's basically doing a satire of Antonioni's The Brisky Point, if you've ever seen that. Um, and then outside, there's a very Stardust Memories like this film is right there. It's better than 8.5, and it's different, but it's just as good as Stardust Memories in dealing with the filmmaker as artist. And there's so much in that film. And the thing is, as I'm getting sort of assaulted by this film, I'm able to put these things in order, and it's like a jigsaw puzzle, and it's fascinating to watch, and it's great to watch. It goes back and forth between color and black and white. And this is a guy who was doing this on a shoestring budget over 5 or 6 years. And then I look at like Gene Dealman, it took like 14 days, I think, to shoot the thing. And that you can't. I mean, it's ridiculous sight and sound. Even if, for example, if this was the only film we knew of this guy Orson Welles, it's so far above this Gene Dealman. It's ridiculous. He's on a totally different level as an artist. And I could say the same thing about Kubrick. That's why I was thinking to myself, my God, because I was watching something about Kubrick yesterday on YouTube too, and it's like, who's greater? I mean, is it? And these are the two titans. Wells started off getting everything handed to him, became an indie filmmaker because he was shunned. Kubrick started out as an indie filmmaker, got everything handed to him, and was praised. Uh, they uh, Wells molded his vision to what the story was. He was the ultimate form and function guy. Kubrick had he imposed his will on film. Uh, and you look at something like this Gene Dealman. Well, I saw that on one of I forget what the director's one. You have Spike Lee do The Right Thing, which is a cardboard cutout. I mean, it's not a great film. There's some great cinematography here and there, but it's by no means a great film. I look at Vertigo from 10 years ago, which topped it, and that's a mediocre. It's probably got the worst performance from Jimmy Stewart that I've seen, and it's got terrible acting in other parts. Um, and Citizen Kane, which I think is certainly a great film. I don't think it was ever the greatest film. I put it probably maybe fourth or fifth out of Wells's film. This film I just mentioned, Other Side of the Wind, is overall it's a more dazzling, made with by the different standards, a lot less money. It's just brilliant and it's dazzling. Chimes at Midnight is the same way. The trial. I mean, the 1960s. I mean, he was just kicking it from The Trial to Chimes at Midnight, and then into the 70s with this and F for Fake. I mean, he was making magic out of nothing. I mean, I would argue that Orson Welles was probably, I would have to give him slightly over Kubrick, and I'd say that he was one of the top 4 or 5 artists of the 20th century in any art form. I mean, just watching this, and that this is a 60-something-year-old man who's got, in that one film, he does more than Kubrick has done. Not Kubrick, Spielberg has done in his whole career. And
I
how does a movie like this Gene Dealman get up there? It's a joke.